What was going on with the looks at the Met Gala this year? 2026 dress code was so fun and open-ended and should have produced hundreds of 10 out of 10 looks. But unfortunately, not everyone hit the mark. The Met Gala is a charity and fundraiser event for the Met in New York City, and it's hosted on the first Monday of May every year. So this year it was Monday, May 4th, and the theme was costume art. From the Vogue website, they divide costume art into different thematic body types, which include the naked body, the pregnant body, and the aging body. Now, the dress code for the night was fashion is art. The goal is to connect the body and fashion and basically use the body as a canvas. I loved the dress code this year because I think there's a lot of art forms that you can play on, and I was very, very excited. I love watching the Met Gala because it is such a celebration of fashion, and truthfully, it does produce some of the most iconic fashion moments each year. So while we could harp on all the men that wore black tuxes to this event, or all the people that apparently forgot they were attending the Met Gala, I am only going to talk about the looks that actually fit the dress code and actually looked good, and talk about their inspirations. The first celebrity look that I saw that I thought was actually good was Emma Chamberlain's. She was a host this year. She did do some interviews, and honestly with that, I give them a little bit of grace because they're going to be standing all day. Now, she did change into a more toned down version of this when she was actually hosting, but what she walked down the carpet with, gorgeous. This dress is Mugler, and the first thing that I noticed was how I loved how it looked like it was painted, and turns out it actually is hand painted. The inspiration for this dress is the painting Garden at Arles by Vincent van Gogh, and it is absolutely stunning. Even the sleeves on this thing, the structure, also the hair and the glam really adds to this look. She set the standard very, very high. The next celebrity that I thought looked really good was Sabine Getty. Her dress was Ashy Studio, and her corset was also hand painted, and her inspiration was 18th century painting where light and shadow shape the body, and the ring that she's wearing on this look is the same ring that is painted onto her corset. So she is in a way like her own muse, and I hadn't heard of her before, but she is a jewelry designer, so the added touch of the ring makes it even more personalized to her. So yes, this dress is stunning. And then the first men's look that caught my eye was by Jordan Roth. This look is designed by Robert I. Its inspiration is the Pygmalion and Galatea myth, and then also the painting by the same name by French painter Jean-Léon Gérôme. This look caught my eye, and again, I had not heard of this person, so I did take a picture when I was watching it because I wanted to make sure that I could find them afterwards. But yeah, his look is great and very on theme, and normally I wouldn't appreciate such a boring silhouette, but because of its inspiration, it makes complete sense. Then we've got Hunter Schafer. This dress is Prada, and it is inspired by Gustav Klimt's painting Meda Primavesi. Her hair looks exactly like the painting. Like when I saw this painting, I thought, whoa, that is an exact replica. Because without the context, I don't love this dress as much. Like it looks good, but with the meaning, it adds an extra layer, and then it looks amazing. And then another look that caught my eye is Janelle Monáe's by Christian Serrano. This look has robotic butterflies that actually move on the red carpet, and it's made from real electric cables and moss. It's obviously a commentary on nature and technology, and I would like to say that it's even more a commentary on AI, which I think is an important discussion to be having in the arts especially. So what's a better place to do it than the Met, where there are millions of eyes on each of the looks? Their looks are always kind of outside of the box, and as someone who has been watching the Met Gala for years, I do remember some of their previous looks, and I do think the fact that their looks are memorable is a sign that this isn't just like a one-off. This is a good design. Another look that caught my eye was Lisa's, and this is designed by Robert I. It has over 66,000 Swarovski crystals, and the arms on this look are actually a 3D replica of her own arms. I read a lot of interviews and articles about all the people that I'm mentioning and all their inspiration, and at some point in one of these articles, it was said that this veiled arrangement was inspired by traditional Thai dance positions. And I think dance is a very underrated art form that really wasn't mentioned a lot this Met Gala, and so I definitely appreciate the choice of choosing dance. And I don't know the exact thinking behind the color choice of the look and the arms, but I think the fact that the arms are white, they make them look very mannequin-y, and whether intentional or not, I think that is another level to the dress code and theme. Now, I saw Heidi Klum's look, but I had no idea it was her. This look is by Mike Marino, and it is inspired by Italian artist Raphael Monti's veiled vestal sculpture, and I mean, definitely you can see the inspiration inspiration between the two. Heidi Klum is pretty much an OG queen of Halloween, so I'm not completely shocked, and honestly I am a little embarrassed that I wasn't able to immediately decipher that this was her. What got me was the feet. I really don't know if the feet were completely necessary, but I guess I can appreciate a commitment to the bit. Initially, I thought Angela Bassett's look was good, but nothing too special. And then I heard her interview with Lala Anthony. So this dress is designed by Prabal Gurung, and its inspiration is the girl in the pink dress by Harlem Renaissance artist Laura Wheeler. And this painting is from 1927. And the thing that Angela Bassett said in the interview that made this look feel more special to me was that it was a nod to the aging body, because the girl in the painting is much younger than her. And when I looked up the painting, I thought she did a really good job taking inspiration from this, and I liked the deeper meaning behind it, because as I mentioned before, the dress code was hinting at different thematic body types, one of which was the aging body. The next look that caught my eye was Paloma Elsesser. This dress is designed by Francesco Riso, and it is very patchwork and collage. It is made up of over 100 different dresses from the 1920s, 30s, and 40s, and I think it's very arts and crafts vibes, which is honestly perfect with the dress code of fashion is art. This dress is so intricate, and the more you look at it and the closer you look at it, the better it gets, and that is a quality of a good look. This next look from Eileen Gu blew me away, no pun intended. This is from tech-forward designer Iris Van Herpen, and this dress actually spits out bubbles. The entire time she was on the runway, bubbles were coming out of this dress. And I watched the actual Met Gala as it was happening, and I thought the bubbles were coming from the dress, but then I saw a TikTok later that said that there was just someone following her around with bubbles. And if you also saw this and were curious, the dress does actually blow up bubbles. There was no one else walking with her. This look is covered in 15,000 handcrafted glass bubbles, and it plays on the human body, but in a more scientific way. And their thinking is that 99.9% of the human body is empty space. The dress looks great on its own, but then it also pops out bubbles, and then it's next level. And I don't think anyone could say that this is not a work of art, thus proving the dress code fashion is art. Another look that I loved the second I saw it was Sabrina Carpenter's. This is Dior, designed by Jonathan Anderson, and its inspiration is the 1954 movie Sabrina, starring Audrey Hepburn, which, may I add, won an Oscar for Best Costume. And then another layer is the fact that the film roles used are actually the film roles of the film Sabrina. I am a film girly through and through, so I was thrilled to see that someone chose film as their art form. Like, the layers to this, when you really start picking it apart, are spectacular. And of course, the hair, beautiful, the headpiece, stunning. This look is perfect. Another pop girly that caught my eye was Gracie Abrams with her look from Chanel. Arguably the best dressed Chanel girl at the Met. This look is inspired by Gustav Klimt's painting Portrait of Adele Bloch-Bauer. I can definitely see the references of the painting in her look, and it's really a beautiful dress. She did go very light and neutral on the makeup. Another look that caught my eye was Doechii in Marc Jacobs. Her dress, or I guess what's left of it, is wrapped up in her hair, which I think is very fun. This definitely plays on the whole the body is the canvas concept, and she also walked barefoot, which is very bold. She said that she was going for something very human and vulnerable and grounding, and to me, I think this could also be interpreted as like an unfinished art piece. This look is very beautiful, and sometimes less is more. Another look that caught my eye is Jeremy Pope in archival Vivienne Westwood from fall 1996. His top is the body, and it is honestly stunning. I know the standard for men's red carpet looks is significantly lower than for women's, but I still am impressed with this look, especially in a sea of black tuxes. And then there was Jenny Kim in Chanel, and I think this is the only Chanel look that kind of rivals Gracie Abrams, but I do stand by the fact that the rest of the Chanel girls were not properly taken care of in the fashion department. This dress is inspired by mosaic art, and it has 15,000 sequins. Something that I didn't notice at first glance was her mismatched earrings, and I do think it honestly really works. It does add something to it. The way that this dress moves and reflects light is stunning. Nok Yai's look is also one that I didn't fully appreciate at the very beginning. This dress is Balenciaga, and to be honest, the dress is not doing all that much. It's black, and while it has a little bit of a unique hood structure, the rest of it is rather plain. Where this look absolutely shines is with like the prosthetic hair and the glam. She was inspired by the Black Madonna, and some people are also saying that it's inspired by the Mater Dolorosa, but she did not mention this in an interview, though I would also agree that this definitely has a lot of similarities to that statue. Anak Yai is someone that I always look forward to seeing at the Met Gala, and so my expectations for her are always a little bit higher than with other people, which is I think why I was initially a little bit disappointed, but then seeing this all come together, it made complete sense. Because while I do think she could have gone the Heidi Klum route, I don't think that it was necessary, especially for like the Black Madonna. So I'm happy to report that Anak Yai is still one of my favorite Met Gala girlies. Then someone who made her Met Gala debut, Chase Infinity. Her dress is Tom Brown and it is inspired by Alexandros of Antioch's Venus de Milo statue. This dress is over 600 different colors and it has 1.5 million stacked sequins to mimic brush strokes. I love to see some color on the Met Gala carpet, and for her debut, I think this is absolutely wonderful. A look that did get quite some attention was Madonna's by Saint Laurent, and I definitely think this one feeds into the costume part of costume art. The inspiration for this is a painting called The Temptation of Saint Anthony by Lenora Carrington from 1945, and you can definitely see the inspiration. It is almost like a recreation of it. One little thing about this though is that in the painting, the girls holding this dress are around her 360 degrees, but when actually on the red carpet, I guess one of the girls holding Madonna's dress had gone one step too far, and she definitely reminded her of her place in the hierarchy of the Met Gala. And I'm not saying Madonna is evil. I don't know Madonna. I don't really know much about her. I just thought it was funny how the girls in the painting are all the way around her. But in real life, if you dare step out of your imaginary semicircle that you're in, you're getting called out. Obviously, the inspiration for this look is there, and I do think the look overall looks really great. And I think a lot of that is due to the ladies that are standing behind her. A fun look that caught my eye was Gwendolyn Christie's, and her dress is designed by her partner, Giles Deacon. And the inspiration for this is Mask by Madame Yvonne, which is a photograph from 1938. She has this face mirror, which is also featured in the original photograph. And I think photography was a fun place to pull inspiration from for this fashion is art dress code. I think the dress looks good on her and I like the headpiece, but of course the highlight is the fact that she's carrying her face with her. Then a look that caught my eye for many different reasons was Blake Lively's. She is wearing archival 2006 Versace with an added train. This dress is supposed to look like watercolor, and on her bag she features watercolor art from her 4 children. The reason she gave for carrying this art to me didn't make all that much sense, because carrying art with you is not unusual when the dress code is fashion is art. But she said she was carrying the art of her children with her because she was shy, and she mentioned being shy multiple times in this interview with Lala Anthony. Of course, Blake Lively is going through some things legally at the moment, and her PR team is trying their best, but I think that they should regroup and maybe try a different approach. The dress, no argument about it, is absolutely stunning, and it features a very dramatic train, which I do think has become kind of her thing at the Met Gala. Obviously, the details are what makes this look so beautiful, and the bag helps it fit perfectly within theme. The next look that caught my eye is Rachel Zegler's in Prabal Garonne. This look is inspired by the Paul de la Roche painting Execution of Lady Jane Grey from 1833. This dress definitely fit the theme, and she looked great in it, and obviously the blindfold is what took it to the next level, and I think this was a great look from Rachel Zegler. Another look that I really liked was Nichapat Supaps in Robert One. The silver hands on her dress actually move, and this look is inspired by Adam from the Sistine Chapel. This is so fun, and it definitely takes a black dress to the next level. I'm always fascinated by pieces like this that have moving parts that actually function, because there are so many things that could go wrong and ruin the look, but taking that risk is what makes a good look turn into an amazing look. And then a look that didn't catch my attention at the first glance was Yuchi Lira Quo's, but this is one of those looks where when you look closer, you do see the actual meaning. This dress is by Jean-Paul Gaultier, and it is inspired by the Greek sculpture Winged Victory of Samothrace. This dress does look like origami almost at certain points, and there's an actual bodice at the front of this dress. It's obviously a lot of care and detail went into this look. And then the third and last men's look that caught my eye was Gustav Magner Witze. This also plays on the body being the outfit, and to me it almost looks like an x-ray. Again, for a men's look, the expectation is always lower. So when you see a look like this, it does really stand out. And then the last celebrity to catch my eye was Beyonce. This dress is by Olivier Rousteing, and it is obviously heavily inspired by the human skeleton. I really like the added touch of also having skeleton hands, because I think a lot of times with looks, you don't really think about the hands as much. This again plays on the body being the costume, and I liked the very dramatic feather train that she had. I think that the 2026 Met Gala had a clear best designer, because out of the 25 looks that I mentioned, he designed 3, and that is Robert One. He designed Jordan Ross' look, Lisa's look, and Nietzsche Patsupap's look. And having multiple 10 out of 10 looks at the Met Gala is very impressive, especially since in theory the Met is where the best and the most well-known designers go to show off their work. So I think that's quite a feat. And now for best dressed. To be honest, this was quite easy. As soon as I saw these 3 looks, I knew they were going to be in my top 3. I just didn't know which places. I think in third place is Eileen Gu. Her look is just so intricate. And then in second place is Sabrina Carpenter. As I mentioned, I am a film girl, so I am a little bit biased. Her take on the dress code was very unique, because I didn't see a lot of people choose film as the art that they wanted to take inspiration from, and I think it was a really good look. And then number 1 best dressed of Met Gala 2026 for me is Emma Chamberlain. I think having such an incredibly on theme and incredibly beautiful look, especially as a host, is very impressive. Her look was perfect from top to bottom. Now, would I have loved to see even more on theme and gorgeous looks? Duh. But I do think the Met Gala this year produced a lot of good looks. So I guess same time next year.